Well, in business they say you manage what you can measure, and you can only really effectively track change over time if you can measure things carefully. And so many things that have made great progress, economic progress and others, have been measurable, and they've been repeatable, and people have trust in the progress that's being made. Some of the things that we're trying to tackle that are more softer issues of development have been much more difficult to measure. So by finding ways to extract interesting and usable data out of these systems, we can actually make more progress because people can see the change over time. I think the data revolution already started long ago for the private sector and for other actors, and only now is it becoming very obvious that data is a significant ingredient in international development. So in the context of international development, we've seen this talk of the data revolution. So I think it really means refreshing skills in government, changing the way we work, but also in civil society as individuals, and in private sector and other segments of the economy, looking more as measuring the progress that we make and not just trying to do large-scale development projects. I think right now the biggest need is really engaging citizen satisfaction and understanding what citizen demand is. We believe that we've seen it very closely in the UN, that when world leaders really understand what citizens want, they're happy to find ways to make that happen. Of course, it's not that they can immediately make the money appear and all the solutions appear easily, but it's very important that they understand the citizen demand. And also when projects are underway, when expensive projects are underway, we need to have that citizen feedback to see whether they're actually working. So you can make progress on a development project, but if the citizens feel that no progress has been made, that big investment has not made the impact it needs to. I believe so. I think the starting narrative is that we need better data. But I think as we go on over 15 years, we'll find that we're filling in gaps that we'd never even realized we could by trying new efforts to look for new sets of data. And so while it might not be as rigorous and as scientifically standardized as we see in some other quarters of data management, the new types of data that we're pulling out, citizen perception and satisfaction, we can find ways to track that over time that will be incredibly powerful. Well, one of the core issues is privacy and human rights. Big data is a fascinating area of research, but we have to remember that in many cases the data is not meant to be shared. Citizens are vulnerable to kind of efforts to keep them from speaking their mind, and in certain countries, if they decide to collect data in certain ways, even through mobile phones and other things, we may find that suddenly those in power use that data against the citizens themselves. So we feel that there's a huge opening to ensure that digital human rights are covered carefully. Anytime you're innovating and anytime things are changing rapidly, it usually happens with pockets of activity. And the most important thing to make real scale in those kind of activities is to share this knowledge and to gather regularly to share the lessons learned in projects and to see where the opportunities are. Otherwise, we may find that people are repeating the mistakes that others have already tried and failed. So you need to come together regularly to have this kind of opportunity to see what others have tried that you may be thinking of or you may be challenged with.